So I'm gonna begin this by talking to that trainer there, since I ran out of time before I could talk to her, and I also ran out of time before I could finish my rant on aquatic areas in the Pokémon games. There are two other factors than quantity which really affect how the experience on the water is, because usually, you know, there's not much to see on sea routes aside from water. On land you've got trees, mountains, that kind of stuff, but there you've got only water. So other than the quantity of sea routes, there's also two other factors that come into play. First one is the encounter rate. If you encounter a tentacle every 5, I can't really say steps, but every 5 tiles, well, of course it's gonna seem like it takes forever, since it's just sea, and more sea. Whereas here, I was blessed with a really low encounter rate, whether it was my short stint from Pallet to Cinnabar Island, or what I'm doing right now, the path to the Seafoam Islands. I can't say I've encountered too many wild tentacles along the way. And the other factor is the surfing speed. Now, I'm saying this, and a lot of you are instantly going to think of Diamond and Pearl, where the slow speed of surfing, oh god, it really felt like you were surfing in slow-mo. Thank fucking god there's only 4 sea routes in that game, else I might have chucked the DS out of the window in frustration. Whereas in Ruby, Sapphire, and Emerald, where there's a sea that seemingly drags on forever, well, the surfing speed's actually adequate. It's faster than the walking speed, and I think it can even compete with the running speed, which is really, really cool. One can only wonder why they didn't keep that for Diamond and Pearl. I've heard reports that it was faster in Platinum, but having not played the game myself, I can't say if that's accurate or not. Now there's another subject that I wanted to cover, since I actually did it in the last video, but I didn't have enough time. Oh, and I forgot to switch my lead to Zapdos. Too bad, I'm gonna do it after this battle. So that other subject is how you organize your moves when it comes to, you know, the order. Like in the last video, I put Thunder on top for Zapdos, and then Drill Peck, Thunder Shock, and Thunder Wave, because yeah, I gave it the Thunder Wave TM, by the way, since it doesn't learn too many moves naturally. But basically, usually the way I organize my moves is that I put the offensive moves first, from strongest to weakest. Like, as I said, Thunder, Drill Peck, and Thunder Shock. I usually take Stab into account, but not the attack stats in case I am using a mixed attacker, because it would get a little more complicated to organize. And after offensive moves, I'm usually going to put stat-up moves, support moves, recovery moves, that kind of thing. I'm putting that at the bottom, usually. Some people like to put it at the top, like for example, some people put Calm Mind at the top of a Calm Mind sweeper, for example, because it's usually going to use Calm Mind first, then it's going to sweep using offensive moves. Personally, I prefer having my offensive moves on top. So how do you organize your moves? I'm curious to hear about it. Is it just completely random, or is there really a pattern to how you sort your moves? And now I'm heading towards the Seafoam Islands. I don't know if I'm gonna reach them in this video, maybe not, but okay, now I'm reaching Route 20, and as I remember, there are 3 trainers before the Seafoam Islands, so I'm gonna face off against them, and after that I'm going to head back to Fuchsia to recover my lost PP and HP and everything, because those trainers sure took a lot of PP out of me, and I'm gonna need all the PP I can for the Seafoam Islands. But as for the Seafoam Islands, as I was gonna say first, there's a random fact I wanted to tell you about. And I found this in Cerebee's Poke Earth, actually, and it's that in the Japanese blue version, which never came out in America, you can actually find Jinx in the wild there. No kidding, you can find Jinx in the wild, whereas here we only got our versions of red and blue, and the only way to obtain a Jinx is to trade for Poliwhirl in Cerulean City. So yeah, we really got ripped off, I think. Especially considering we in North America and the rest of the world as well, we never got wild Jinxes until Gold and Silver, actually. So yeah, they could actually have a Jinx they could call Jinx in Japan as early as when their version of Blue came out. Well, it wasn't called Jinx, but yeah, I think they could call it Jinx, but it's whatever the Japanese name for Jinx is, I don't know it. But as for the general layout of the Seafoam Islands, which is what I wanted to talk about, there are 5 floors to this dungeon. And there are 2 pairs of boulders that you must send down in holes through several floors in order to stop the currents in the bottom 2 floors. There is the first pair of boulders is located on the first floor, and you gotta... I'm just gonna cut this there for a second, and you know that trainer I just defeated? When I talked to him the first time, he said, "Why are you riding a Pokemon? Can't you swim?" Like, he was, "Hey, I'm cooler than you because I can swim, so buzz off, you loser." And then I beat him, and he's like, "Hey, maybe riding a Pokemon is not that bad after all." Yeah, make up your freaking mind. So as I was saying, the first pair of boulders is located on the first floor. They're really close to each other, but you gotta go all around the place in order to reach the other boulder relative to the one you were doing first. So I recommend doing the easternmost boulder first, since the ladders are really close to the holes. And yeah, you have to push down those 2 boulders all the way down to the 4th floor. And the 4th floor is where the second pair of boulders is, but it's way more to the south, where there's no water in that general area. So yeah, it's in the southernmost area of the 4th floor, and you just gotta push them down 1 floor, and then the currents are going to stop, and you are going to be able to claim Articuno. Now, what makes this endeavor a little tougher is the location of the ladders. You really gotta know which ladder to take, else you're just gonna get lost in that big maze. So, what I'm gonna do is that, well, I'm certainly not going to be reaching the Seafoam Islands on this video, since I'm battling the last trainer on Route 20 before the Seafoam Islands, and I'm 8 minutes in. So what I'm gonna do is that I'm gonna beat her, and I'm going to head back to Fuchsia to heal, and after that I am going back to the Seafoam Islands. But what was I saying already? Oh yeah, I'm gonna retreat to Fuchsia, and before making the next video, I'm going to study the maps on the Poke Earth extensively, just so that I know exactly which ladders to take, so that... Oh, super! I missed with Thunder again. It's not like I really need the extra power over Thunderbolt. It's just really stupid that there's only 1 Thunderbolt TM, and I gave it to Gengar, but I'm still happy with that decision, and there it connects, finally. But yeah, I'm going to examine carefully the maps on the Poke Earth, so that, well, other than capturing Articuno, which, well, I have no control over how long it's going to take, but that at least I don't spend an hour navigating the dungeon on top of the possible hour it might take just to catch Articuno. So I'm heading back to Fuchsia to heal, and see you next time, because this time it's gonna be for real, the Seafoam Islands!